Continue.
Awesome, we're live, and welcome to yet another episode on this community series. This time we're discussing communities and tools and infrastructure to power all these communities. And we have Abhinav with us, who's currently building out Avalon Scenes. Wouldn't give away too much because we're kicking off this section with learning more about his journey. So Abhinav would love to hear the run up to the current moment, right? I know you've been involved in a bunch of projects, you've been doing a lot of interesting things. How has your journey been so far? Our audience would love to hear more about that.
First of all, thanks, Suhas, for having me here. My journey started long back in my college. There was this moment that I became disillusioned with whatever I was being taught, and I realized that there's not much application right outside it. But thankfully, I had a great community. Throwing the community word up front, but thankfully I had a great community at hand, in Manipal. And we guys could work together on great projects, and when you get serious about a project, it becomes a startup. So the very first startup that I was a part of, that was in my second semester, it was the Campus Connect. What we were doing essentially back then is we were building a community of college campuses across the country. And digitally we reached out to multiple campuses, students there, built campus teams, and it was a community of college students. The community was over 1,000 people, colleges were about 60. That was my first experience with the community, hands-on, digitally but hands-on, organically. I think that's always going to stay. Then secondly, in my third, fourth year, I built a community around mental health, and I did group storytelling and group poetry sessions across the country. Again, this was done without my presence. These are physical events that happened without my presence. I would still be in college. I would help them with digital support. The communities will do it themselves in Kolkata, Hyderabad, Mumbai, and where not. I did travel to a few places, so yeah, that's what happened. During this time, I met my college senior, Varun Maya, who I'm working with right now, in Bangalore. He was building, right after he sold his previous startup, JobsFire, he was building a startup around mental health. And I was like, okay, I'm already in this space. Let me help you out. So that's where we got together. And eventually, one thing led to the other. From that mental health startup, we moved to Avalon. Avalon happened to be a services agency. Me, with my knack for reaching bigger audiences, led the marketing services wing for that. Worked with a lot of venture funded companies, some of them global, some of them Indian. Worked with VCs, in fact, helping their portfolio companies. Throughout all of this, I realized that the performance marketing and growth for the sake of growth is not the most sane approach towards growth. And a lot of people have been vocal about it, but reality on ground is madness. You can't just keep shoving ad dollars down Google and Facebook's throat to grow like crazy. That's not the most sustainable approach. But I got my hands dirty in there. Helped a lot of companies. Then once we had a chance to work on our own product, we did it in a different way. We built our personal brands. We brought three of us and some extended folks in our network. We brought all of them on Instagram, and then we started communicating amongst ourselves. So there were 5 or 6 characters on Instagram. All of them had audiences. The audiences were built by performance marketing, but what we did with the audience was super organic. And then we sort of had a community. We had no place to store it initially, but we had a community. People were engaging organically with us. That was a form of growth or audience building. It was super new back then. This was 2018, 2019 or whatever. So that's what we brought in. You're like, okay, there is great loyalty here. You can't just keep playing the ads game. So eventually we realized Instagram and YouTube are going to throttle our reach. They throttle our reach. Then we realized we need to store our distribution somewhere, because we can't rely on these algorithms, right? So that's when we came across Telegram. Telegram initially served the purpose when the community was sub 10K, but the moment you hit 10K and you don't have a channel, you have a community where everyone's talking, Telegram becomes super noisy. So then we moved it to Discord. Discord wasn't, super user. Although we scaled it to 50,000 people, had a great time on it. In fact, built a name for us as having the largest education server in the world for students. Our people actually struggled with Discord. If you were a gamer, it's fine, but the conversation threads only made it to Discord like a month or 2 years ago. Month or 2 years ago, and we were on Discord like a year or so ago. Discord was never built for communities, so we struggled with that, and hence in the journey of solving our own problems, we realized, okay, if Discord were to be tailor-made for communities, what would be it? We're answering that question.
That is super interesting. I completely agree with you, right? There has been this wave, right? This current wave that we're in. There are a lot more people are entering the community ecosystem, but it's super important to build that infra layer for them. Right now, everyone you ask, everyone's just building on those stacks which aren't available. Even Slack, for example, isn't really a community tool. They still don't have a community pricing model yet, right? So Slack, Discord, and all were built, were great for their niches, and have scaled communities so far for the use cases that we have. But with this new influx of people coming, I think there's definitely need for those niches, and I'm sure you guys are going to kill it in that space. So super excited for what y'all are building. One specific question I have for you, and it's more fun right now. What is that one thing that is super bullish on that makes Avalon Meta the next unicorn? What are you betting on?
See, I can tell you, that there could be 100 things, but if you wanted a simple answer where everything originates from, this is a crazy. I mean, I remember the other investors, one of the investors was telling us the other day that had we not had a team like us not chosen to do what we're doing, he'd have been super disappointed. We're born to build a community. We're digital first people. We've always lived in communities, built communities, grown audiences for other people. We've always been in this sphere. It is in our DNA. It's such a strong team market fit. I won't even say founder market fit. It's a team market fit. We're building for our own selves, and I think that's the greatest strength.
Very interesting. I've not heard that answer before, but I completely agree. I think there has to be a huge team fit, a founder fit, and then a team fit that can drive through. And yeah, I agree. I think you all have done a fantastic job earlier, and just those learnings I think should power you through. What would you say is your moat beyond that? For example, you mentioned gamers ke liye Discord was awesome. There have been specific tools for specific niches. Are you thinking something similar to start with for Scenes by Avalon?
So again, the moat eventually will be switching costs. Once you have a lot of people on board, it'll be hard for them to switch elsewhere. Now I'll tell you where the opportunity is. How will we get to such a scale? If you told me that people are using Slack as community. Slack CEO has gone on record to say that we're not a community platform, nor do we intend to be one. Yet people use Slack for communities. Slack calls itself a workspace. It never calls itself a team or rather a server or a community place. They're clear where they want to be, and they're very well there. They started off as an email replacement tool, and that's what they are. They are not supporting, they still have that 10,000 messages limit and all of this. Slack is not the ideal platform to build a community, and I'm not saying that Slack said it. The problem with Discord, yet people are building a community on Slack. People are building communities on Discord. Funny thing is, recently I discovered there are people who are building communities on Notion. People building communities on Notion. And now that you think of it, you can kind of imagine a possibility that yes, you can kind of build a community on Notion. But it's stupid. We see such behavior. The Discord has the brand problem and the UX problem. They're solving for communities. They're still solving for communities because they also have to remain for gamers, right? That's their major chunk. So they have to find the right blend. And they only added threads like a month ago. They're innovating fast, but they have that brand problem because I always knew Discord as a gaming tool, and I'm always going to know it as a gaming tool. It's always going to be called Discord server. So, there's this friction that's going to be there in order for Discord to become massive. Now, all of these behaviors show you that people want a very robust community tool. Something that supports video like Slack and Discord, something that supports audio, something that supports multiple drag and drop channels where you can play games, you can do all of these things. But there's none that exists. There are people who are building very niche solutions that, okay, I'll build a white label community that you can put on your website. I'll build something else that you can, have Telegram like chats with. I'll build a solution that you can run paid WhatsApp groups with or paid Telegrams with. People are solving for these niche solutions, whereas the big opportunity is there in building the ultimate community platform, that has all the functionalities that people have shown to use, shown the demand for. We're building all of these. We're bringing all of these together with spatial audio. Spatial audio, has been used for workspaces in pandemic. Spatial audio, in the sense, tools like Gather, where you can walk up to the other person, it looks like Mario. So we're also adding that, and you could use it for work, or you could use it to have a live concert.
Great. No, thanks for those insights. What is that one thing that you think Avalon is going to go first? I mean, I agree with your point on switching costs, but where do you think you start with first? It's a horizontal tool, so your answer will be here.
So one thing I forgot about mentioning there. Once you have an engaged community, we also have a shop like Shopify where you can monetize your audience. So that's the entire roadmap that I ran you through. What we're going first with, in fact, within a few days, is obviously audio. There's going to be video. There's going to be forums, proper thread-like functionality, and there's going to be virtual spaces. That is basically spatial audio. So we've also, we're probably one of the first companies who built a bridge from Unity, because the entire virtual space has been built in Unity, and the entire app is on React Native. So we've built a Unity to React bridge, and put that channel as well. So bunch of these things are going live already. Later in the roadmap, there's going to be gamification. There's going to be shop and monetization. Right now, it's going to be a free platform where we want just people to come and have fun.
Very interesting. No, looking forward to that. Moving on to our next section, Abhinav, I think this is my favorite bit because I get to learn every single time with every single conversation. You're building a platform for a bunch of communities, so you would have observed very interesting insights across. If there was a community manager who's starting from scratch, right? Lots of community entrepreneurs today, when they're going from 0 to 1, what is your favorite stack that you suggest to them? Would love to hear something. Okay.
I'll tell you the stack that we're set out to place. I don't think that you can ever outdo Reddit. Reddit is gold standard. Reddit is so good that the founders didn't even know right at the beginning why it's growing like it's growing. So that's really cool. If you're starting out as a community manager, there's a lot of learning that has to happen. It's not just about learning tools. It's about learning how to react to people on certain platforms and how to participate in certain conversations. I think good training grounds are go land yourself in certain few subreddits and become an active member. Second is become a fan on YouTube. What do I say? Fan on YouTube. Watch a few live streamers. You can do that on Twitch, but I would say do that on YouTube, because beyond gamers, watch a lot of live streamers, participate in super chats, become a fan, understand what are the issues they'll face, when attacks happen. What kind of moderation you need to do. Then of course, join a. I don't know. I can't really name a specific tool, but perhaps Airmeet or Hopin, where you have backstage mechanism where you can understand how to structure what's behind the screen and what's in front of the screen. You can manage all of these things. If you can do that, then finally you need to get versed with audio. For audio rooms, you can come on Scenes, the current app. It's always going to be there. See, you can come on Scenes at any time. Audio rooms are always a buzz. There are people who are discussing finance tips. There are people who are singing, sharing jokes and all. Or you can also see if audio rooms, if you find sufficiently sufficiently, active audio rooms. Or you can try Clubhouse, of course, for that. But yeah, train yourself in various kinds of mediums where you might be required.
I think that's a very, very interesting point you mentioned, right? A lot of folks I see in India really miss this aspect of it. It's not just getting on like a bunch of people in one group and then expecting things to happen, right? You really study these niches, lots happening, and then pick the best, what works for you. Maybe something works for a particular set of users and your members, your community. adapt. But I think those 3 points are really interesting. I'm going to try out the YouTube fans one that you mentioned and learn something new. So I like that.
YouTube is a beautiful community.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Last bit of this conversation, and especially since you mentioned Reddit, where do you think the future of infrastructure for communities lies, right? As communities grow, there has to be something to support this. Just like how audio probably was, it worked for you all as well in 2020, 2021. Over the next 1.5 years, what is that one bet, that one magic ball prediction that you'd like to make that you think will, be the next big thing here?
So, Suhas, I think over the last few years, we've seen a lot of temporary buzz around VR, virtual reality. And virtual reality never really, it's getting adopted more and more by the day, still is. But you realize that virtual reality has a hardware trouble or hardware obstacle. And in pandemic, a lot of people have realized that there is a pace at which technology moves, and there is a pace at which adoption moves. And adoption is not about people becoming aware. It's about the kind of hardwares they have. You can't see my phone, but yeah, the kind of phones they have. Do they have an iOS? Do they have an Android? How much is their Android? Like, what's the RAM and all? So a lot of people, a lot of big companies have started taking bets on 2D games now, because that is the most massively adopted adopted. That's something that can run on any kind of phone, right? You don't need VRs, you don't need AR. Now, how can we really work efficiently with 2D? Among Us has shown that to us. Among Us and games like that. So Among Us plus spatial audio, I think a lot of people are going to bet in this, and this is what will define the future of community, because we're already seeing the behavior in games like Fortnite. Someone hosted a concert on Fortnite. You make everything compatible for a small phone, give it spatial audio. People are gonna get to learn or get to meet each other this way. This is the behavior that we thought and we hoped that would happen because of VR. But I think this is going to happen on 2D first, and years later on VR.
Very interesting. So over the next 1.5 years, can we expect this on Scenes?
So I'm telling you, you can expect this on Scenes in less than a month. We've already built it. We've already built the tech.
Oh wow, that is super interesting. That is super exciting. I think everyone should definitely try that out. Just to make it simpler for our audience, does that mean, say you and me sitting in two different corners of the world, we are in our rooms, but then I can probably see you in 3D in a spatial room and then interact? Is that what you think?
Oh, wow. It would be. It's like a multiplayer Mario game or multiplayer Dave. I don't know if you remember Dave, the game. But yeah, you and I are playing multiplayer Mario, and if I walk up to you, then you can hear me. Otherwise, you can't.
Oh, sweet. So this is like the Gather.town.
Yes.
Similar to that. Super excited to try this out. Yep, I think we're right on the dot on our schedule. So don't want to keep you hanging for too long. And I think this is going to be super crisp for audience, right? You mentioned a lot of interesting points in 20 minutes. Very, very crisp. All the best, Abhinav, for the launch. I know you guys have a great set of, experiments lined up and great set of features that are coming out. I'm sure lots of folks listening to this would love to try it out. So I'll add the link to the description as well. And catch you soon.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Suhas. Thanks a lot, TPF and Community Fund. You guys are doing a lot of great stuff as well. Thank you.
Thanks so much.